I've got a problem. I've been thinking of all these different passion project ideas that I want to create, but I keep running into roadblocks. You see, I'm one of those people that wants to create some spec ads, short films, that sort of thing. And every time I think of an idea, my mind starts going and thinking about the talent I should hire, the gear I should use, locations, some cool shots that I could incorporate into said spec ad or short film. But honestly, with a full-time job, freelance clients that I take care of on a monthly basis, and making these videos for YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that, I don't feel like I really have time. But none of those things I want to let go of. So ultimately, when I think of these ideas, it just ends up falling flat, and I get discouraged or I procrastinate, and I never actually make those video ideas. They die in my idea list. But it was at that point of discouragement and ultimate destruction that I remembered something that I heard that Gareth Edwards did with The Creator. Now, this guy, we all know he's a great filmmaker, but he did something before this film that I think is of note, okay? He went out to some of the locations that he was planning on shooting at. He took a little Nikon Z camera and a vintage lens. And so don't tell me no one shoots on Nikon, okay? But he shot a bunch of test footage. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some of that test footage is in the actual film. Now, I could be totally wrong on that, so let me know in the comments if that's false. But the point is, he made a smaller version of his movie before he made his movie. And then I remembered the movie Prospect, and it's got Mandalorian guy, Pedro Pascal. It's got him in it. And that movie was actually a short film first. And then they pitched that short film, and they were able to sign Pedro and make it a decent sized movie. And then there's another movie that I saw that's another sci-fi movie called Kin. And I learned about it because it was actually originally a short film called The Bagman. They did a Kickstarter for The Bagman. I think they raised like 20 grand, made The Bagman, and then they were able to pitch that same concept to a studio. And I think they made it with like a $4 million budget. Holy. Oh, the light fell. Okay, cool. We're back. Sorry about that. My light just fell, clearly. Yeah, that just got me thinking, like, these pros are creating smaller versions of their larger ideas and using that to pitch and actually create the bigger idea. But I'm not trying to make feature films necessarily, at least not right now. But I do want to make short films and spec ads. So how can this same concept apply to my videos? Let me walk you through one of my ideas and kind of how I processed it. I don't know if you've noticed, but in every video, I wear a Casio watch. If you haven't noticed, it's okay, but it's still there. It's going to be there every single time I film a video because I wear this thing every day, and I have for, I don't know, literally like 5 years easily. I just really like Casio watches. I don't really ever want to own an Apple Watch or anything like that. So my thought process was, what if I made a spec ad for Casio? And I could kind of like play the Casio watch as like this nostalgic, like refreshing thing in the world, and as a fight against, modern smartwatches. And I had seen this, hard-mounted wrist shot that highlighted a watch from a creator on Instagram. And I was like, okay, I could do something like that. That could be my hero shot or my product shot. And then I could have 3 to 5 different people going through different things that they would do during their day, like going to work, riding public transport, working on a construction site, going golfing, all these different things, eating dinner, all that. And the Casio watch is always on their arm. So, let's say we have 3 different people. We're going to shoot montages of all these different things that they're going to be doing. So they're each going to do 3 to 5 different things. And we're always going to get that hero shot of the hard mount. And then we're going to get some other wide shots, just general coverage of each of their little scenes. All of those scenes will require a location, and I'll probably shoot the whole thing on my Fuji X-H2S just because it's what I have. But ultimately, it would be a pretty decent sized project for me to make. And I think it would take a couple days, if not more than a couple days, because of just the sheer amount of locations we'd have to hit. And then the whole project would end with a shot of a guy coming out of his office. He picks his wrist up to look at his watch, or when it hits that wide shot, when he's looking at his wrist, he puts it down and he walks off through a crowd of people that are all like consumed on their smartwatch, like just walking kind of like zombies. I don't know. It could be fun. Maybe a slogan comes up like refreshing nostalgia in a modern world. Casio, right? I don't know. The point is that's kind of the direction that I've been thinking. But like I told you before, I thought through all those things, wrote them down, and then nothing happened because I was just like, frick, I don't have time to make this thing. Or at least I don't right now. And ultimately, I just kind of realized that I have to think through like some way to justify it so that I can dedicate time to it. And more often than not, it just doesn't happen. And I'm sure that some of you are in a similar boat. So what if we could apply this same concept to this Casio spec ad? Let's say instead of 3 people, it's 1 person. And instead of, all these different locations, the 1 person is me. I film myself with my Casio watch. I film me doing things that I do on a regular basis. And I make that into the spec ad. It would give me a rough, way to think through this arm rig thing. I might even shoot it on my phone because, like, as you probably know, it's pretty capable based on the last Apple event. And I've found that already in owning it. I really like shooting with it. If I'm not filming myself, I think it's great, but it'd be worth a shot for this. And suddenly, because I scaled down that project, and I know it's already a scaled down project, like it's not a big project, but for me, what I have going on, it's a big scale project for me. So because I've scaled down this project, it already feels more attainable. Like I could shoot it in a day and it would just take a day of planning and then a day of shooting and it would be done. Well, then there's the editing, but you get the point. So anyways, if you're out there and you've got some passion projects that you want to create, but they just seem too big or like you don't have time to make them or whatever, I think you should just try scaling it down. There's 2 huge benefits to scaling it down. And one, obviously, we've already talked about. You're going to, have a concept that you're then like, instead of just coming to someone with a pitch deck, you're going to come to someone with a full project. And how much easier will it be to get talent and crew on the larger scale version of your project when you can say, bro, literally this is what I made. I just want to make it better and make it like a proper spec ad or proper short film. I think that there's, being able to show someone the concept is always going to do better than just having to tell them the concept. And you can see the proof already with those short films that I referenced that turned into features. If Hollywood studios are buying that stuff, it's going to work with friends and acquaintances that you want to crew or be talent on a project. So that's obviously the first benefit. But the second benefit actually is that you're going to get a lot of prep work done and a lot of invaluable experiences when you're just shooting the small scale thing. Like, for instance, you're always going to run into issues when you're on set. But if you shoot a small scale version of the project, you're probably going to hit a lot of the same issues, but you'll get to figure it out by yourself on your own dime. And then when you actually run into the same issue in the larger scale project, you'll know how to fix it, or you won't even run into the same issue at all. Right. So I think that there's just a ton of unspoken prep that will go into it because you're literally shooting a version of the project. I mean, before you actually shoot the larger project. So between those 2 things, I don't know. I'm like, this is automatic. Why haven't I done this sooner? I hope that this idea is encouraging to you because it's definitely what has gotten me juiced to, make more projects, more passion projects. And I think that there is a ton of projects that I could make when I think of this sort of small scale, approach to actually creating. So yeah, let me know if you make anything through this. Obviously, if I make anything, you'll see it because I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel. If you want to copy my Casio idea, freaking go for it. I would honestly love that because whatever it takes to get you out there and, creating more things, I'm totally down for. Just send it to me so I can watch it. I think that would be sick. I mean, I'm going hiking this coming weekend, so I may film a, you know, maybe a Yeti commercial there or a Coleman spec ad while we're there, or just footage to put something together for it. It's just this concept has just changed the way that I think about these projects that I have, and I hope that it's changed it for you. And if it hasn't, that's okay too. But I do think this is a sign that the video's over because my light just fell again. You're supposed to do this thing where you like reference other videos that people should watch that you made to hopefully make them enjoy you more. So, and watch more YouTube, which then means that your video does better. So instead of liking and subscribing, what if you just watched one of the 4 videos on the screen right now? That could be cool. Unless you're going to create more things, you're going to go out and write a spec ad or short film that you want to make. In that case, don't watch more YouTube. Just go make the thing. But be on the lookout for this Casio commercial or maybe a Coleman commercial or whatever, because I'm going to be putting out a lot more passion projects of mine before the end of the year. So, cheers.